I'm sure this has happened to all of you before. Your percussionist comes up to you, interrupts you in the middle of rehearsal and goes, "Something's wrong with the bass drum pedal." Hi, my name's Casey Doremus. I'm a music educator and composer, and on this channel we talk about things that help your music program thrive. My wife brought her bass drum pedal home from school the other day, and of course her percussionist handed her a bunch of parts and the pedal and said, "We don't know what happened." A disclaimer, this may not fix every pedal. There's differences in different brands, but knowing how one pedal works could help you potentially to figure out how other ones work. Sound Percussion makes this pretty decent pedal for the price. So the spring has come off. Obviously some sort of part has fallen off. One thing you have to make sure you look at is that this bar up here kind of moves back and forth. It shouldn't do that, so you want to make sure before you tighten this piece where the spring attaches, you want to make sure this ball bearing that's sitting right there is back into its slot. Now it's nice and snug, and I'm going to make sure when I tighten this, I get it all the way. So right now this is not facing the right direction. When the spring is pulling down on this, it would keep the beater all the way back here. So you got to make sure you get the beater where you want it. We'll take a drum key real quick, loosen this guy up. Now most pedals would have this where it kind of has a flat surface on one side. I don't know if you can see that. You can slip that piece on there and then tighten her down. Whoops. If that flat area isn't the right spot for the beater, you can put it where you want. Don't feel like you have to put it there, but that just will kind of help you get a general idea. So now I got it all on there. There's usually a screw here that has a hole through it so you can put a spring through it. Two big giant washers there that you can lock it into place. So you want to make sure that's really tight and that's not moving around, because if that's jiggling, it's only going to cause more things to rattle and then eventually it falls apart. It is jiggling around a little more, so I'm going to try to do that again. This time I'm going to put it on the table because that's a little more intelligent, I think. Can't we all agree? That's good. Okay, and it's not jiggling anymore. This little piece right here, we got a screw. This little hook is to attach to the spring there. If you put it on like this, typically you can't get that on, so you got to take that off. Put this around right here. Slide that back in. So here's the problem. This is the thing that's missing. There should be, as you can see, there's a little section for a nut to go in there so you can tighten this screw and it stays secure. Probably what the kids lost, and that's probably why it's not working. I have some sitting around, so I'm gonna just test them out because they look like maybe they could work. This is pretty typical of equipment made overseas, just not the same fit. The nut fits on the screw perfectly, but it's too wide to get into the little section that it needs to be in. I've done this before with other things, so we're gonna try this out. I think I can get it down small enough to get into that spot. Alright, after about 45 minutes of sanding, I am not even close. Trying to sand down a nut is tiring, annoying. This right here is called a split rivet. It actually fits in there pretty good, and then you just bend the sides. This may not be the solution in the long run, but at least for rehearsal tomorrow, it should do a good enough job to hold it together. Alright, so first I'm going to take this little piece off because it's going to be really hard to do it while it's actually on the pedal. So the split rivet does go right in there, really nice and snug. Flathead screwdriver. And we're gonna try to bend these to the sides. So you can see there's those two little pieces sticking out. This thing, it is jiggling around, but it's not gonna come off as of right now. I wanna try to get that in there as tight as I can. So I'm gonna try to bend it a little more. A smaller flathead. This is a bit of a hack job, and I'm not too proud of it, but when you got to get something to work, you got to get something to work, you know what I'm saying? A rivet actually would probably work really well, like a different type of rivet besides the split rivet, but I don't have any of those. So ideally, I really wouldn't want this whole piece to jiggle around like that. It's not ideally how I wish I could have fixed it. It just, sanding that thing down was just more than I could chew. And you know what? It's okay to test things out, to see if things work. And I just figured something out that did improve it a little bit. I put it down on my part right here, took a hammer to it, beat the sides of those in, and it's a lot stronger, a lot more secure now. Pretty happy with this. The only thing that's hard is that there's no support on the other side, so it's just pulling straight down, and with the nut helps kind of keep it really tight on the other side. But this actually is better. It's not as wobbly as it was. The nice thing about drum parts, it's just nuts and bolts, really. Find a friendly hardware store that doesn't try to make you feel like an idiot when you ask a question. They'll help you make sure you find the exact screw you need or whatever it is. Get your hands dirty, try it out. I was just about to give up, and then I had one more idea and thought, maybe that could help. My goodness, it just made it 100 times better. You can typically fix a lot of things on your own with percussion, as long as you just know your basic skills when it comes to like woodworking or metal working. Really happy with this. At least it's going to be good enough for tomorrow. We'll see how long it lasts. Maybe I'll update you guys. If it breaks down, I'll let you know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great one.